in an all-out effort to help survivors clear their homes of mud left behind by flooding and landslides in the wake of Typhoon Morakot. Tzu Chi volunteers from all over Taiwan have been descending on disaster-hit regions by the thousands. Volunteers from the central part of the island mobilized in force to help clean up Jiadong Township in Pingtung on Wednesday.
The flood was this high, about head high.
Seeing the volunteers arrive, township residents breathe a sigh of relief. Recalling what it was like on the day of the flood, the survivors are no longer afraid because Tzu Chi is here. Covered in mud, the volunteers throw themselves into clean-up work. In Jiadong Township, the familiar blue and white uniforms are everywhere. There are loud thank yous for the volunteers who travelled from central Taiwan to Pingtung to join the recovery operation. Zhu Xiuli, who is shoveling sludge into a barrow outside, suffered an injury because of poor posture. Now teamer doctor Liao Changzhou, also here to clean up, puts his medical expertise to use.
Lift up your leg, relax the muscles, relax, drink some water. I'm very committed, so might as well come to the disaster area to help victims clear the mud from their homes.
Making the trip from the centre to the south of Taiwan are doctors, teachers association members and other professionals who put aside their social status to help. Even those in poor health make a contribution. Teacher Wu Huiling, who suffers from a slipped disc. Teachers clear out mud helped by clean water sprayed on the ground by firefighters. Tzu Chi students, tools in hand, are also here to do their bit for Pingtung.
I've learned what it means to learn by doing and become aware by learning. I understand how lucky I am. You have to know.
People came hand in hand to the disaster area. We are very grateful.
The Central Taiwanese volunteers, here to clean up flood-damaged homes, say they hope residents can get their lives back on track as soon as possible.
We stay in Linbian, but this time follow a group of volunteers who came from northern Taiwan to help the stricken township. Linbian physician Dr. Xu Hanmin has indicated he will be pleased to provide facilities to temporarily house 200 to 300 volunteers. This means volunteers do not need to travel such long distances to reach the area, all thanks to Tzu Chi's new friend, Dr. Xu.
This long line of workers is unified in purpose to return these homesteads to their former comfort and beauty. Unfortunately, to get to this remote location, these volunteers must travel from their homes in the north of Taiwan first by high-speed rail, next by tour bus, and then walk nearly an hour overland before they can set to work. But now, thanks to a local resident, there is new hope. Locals' urgent work. Some clear mud, some wash dishes, and others scrub doors and windows. Each group has its task, with all focused on one goal: getting these people back into their homes as quickly as possible. Diligent, meticulous, and personal, every step has been witnessed by one local. Thus, the flooding is building good new friendships that are not only enlightening Tzu Chi's people, but also those around them.
In Kaohsiung's Jiadong Township, volunteers divided into 17 teams and were pleased to find that survivors have stayed composed and are keeping a positive mindset in the wake of the disaster.
The path, dotted with rocks of all sizes and mushy with runny mud, presents a big challenge to volunteers. Jiadong Township lies in ruins after being struck by a massive mudslide triggered by heavy rainfall during Typhoon Morakot. Now that the roads leading to some of the villages in Kaohsiung's Jiadong Township are once again accessible, Tzu Chi volunteers and teams are making their first trip into affected neighborhoods to gain a bit. The old woman was not home on the day of the mudslide. She was surprised to find that, despite the amount of mud that washed into her house, the altar table and the Buddha statues atop did not move an inch. There is also one Huang Li Mei, whose house was ravaged by mudslides for the second time. She feels a little helpless, but has learned to accept the fact.
The mudslide was this high last year and reached here this time. It doesn't bother me at all.
Treading gently upon the broken land, Tzu Chi volunteers are using love to wipe away tears and help survivors stand back up on their feet. Typhoon Morakot left a trail of destruction that will be slowly mended by the collective effort of residents and volunteers.
Tzu Chi volunteers arrived in Daniao village in Jiadong Township on Wednesday to distribute relief packages and also to cheer up the emotionally scarred residents. What used to be Upper Daniao indigenous community now sits beneath the rubble. Even the two-story village church was inundated, exposing only part of the roof. The whole village evacuated during Typhoon Morakot. Just are shocked by the destruction of their homes. More than a dozen were partly destroyed. A lake has formed due to landslides on the mountain top, which could cause another mudslide. The government plans to relocate the villagers. However, the villagers want their immediate needs taken care of first. Having been living in a temporary shelter for many days, the villagers are discontent with the poor living condition. Tzu Chi volunteers arrive in the village to distribute relief supplies and to encourage the distraught villagers by performing sign language. Many villagers become tearful when they hear the moving lyrics.
It is so good to see you. You're so compassionate. I'm so touched and so grateful. Thank the Lord and let us bless each other.
The tears are a combination of gratitude to Tzu Chi and concern for their families. Having lived in isolation, the villagers are re-energized by Tzu Chi volunteers and have the strength to face the future. To help survivors gather the strength to face the future, Tzu Chi volunteers around the world have been collecting donations. More than 17,000 volunteers in 40 countries have joined the marathon effort. From the United States to Argentina and even Bolivia, where many people live in poverty, all are giving what they can afford. After learning about the devastation in southern Taiwan through television,
Tzu Chi volunteers in Northern California are strolling into shops, hair salons, and even screening the Dai channel for passers-by to view.
We are not just soliciting money, but the hearts as well.
The response has been warm.
When I saw this on my way to buy vegetables this morning, I immediately joined the volunteers to solicit money. Thank you. Land, helping our countrymen far away. Our hearts are heavy.
In Bolivia, despite their own poor living conditions, many are digging deep into their pockets to make. Finally, love has been aroused in Argentina in the form of prayers. Making vegetarian sticky rice buns, volunteers hope to get across the message of bonding hearts together in a single charitable act.
To broken pieces. Dong's custard apple orchard was also destroyed. Yet the Tzu Chi volunteer believes she's been blessed she survived the rage of Typhoon Morakot. And instead of being concerned about herself, Dong has chosen to provide love and care for other locals. If I had gone to the orchard that morning, I wouldn't be standing here right now. Yes, I feel lucky I escaped. Now I can go longer to go home. Traveling the winding mountain roads is very daunting, but the volunteer remembers to make a pit stop to bring daily supplies for local. Dong believes it is truly a blessing to have survived the disaster and will continue to support others and help them move forward.
Even though life has become harder, one old woman, Lin Xiuyin, is helping out the armed forces with cleanup and recycling work. At the same time, other victims in the village only accepted Master Zeng Yan's letter of sympathy, but turned down the relief stipend so that the money could be passed on to help other people.
Coming along with the armed forces, Tzu Chi volunteers arrived at this Morakot hit area, Dajing village in Kaohsiung's Liugui Township. As volunteers deliver Master Zeng Yan's letter of sympathy and relief stipend, residents here break into smiles. The landslides wrecked their homes and robbed them of food and water, but thankfully, Tzu Chi has brought aid.
I saw the logo, I knew it was Tzu Chi's. I went to open it and gave everyone some to drink. Thank you, I'm so grateful that Tzu Chi is so caring, sending us water so fast.
Contributing to disaster relief. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.